Let's talk about Tristan Jarry, Horwat.
Mm-hmm.
Must sign, maybe sign, move on. Where do you stand on the Penguins starting netminder as of April 25th, 2023?
I'm back in the bags for him. I'm moving on. I want to see a completely new goaltending duo here. Something to really shake up this organization. Something to really shake up this team. Get the fire going again. This team missed the playoffs by a couple of points. For the third season in a row, they were let down by the goaltending. And among other things in all three seasons, obviously. But if you can fix one hole and fill one hole, you do it there. I don't know who your options are. I don't know what kind of better ideas that might be had. It's going to be a rough run, but I just think you can't be let down by the same two guys again. Not with a new group coming in, not with new management coming in. People were calling for Tristan Jarry's head after the Islanders debacle.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Burke and Hextall both said, he's our guy. Here's a new contract to prove it. Right? Was that when he signed the deal?
No, he signed before that.
Well, they still said, he's our guy. He's sticking around to really prove it. And then what happened? Then Tristan Jarry was injured heading into the postseason. And then Casey DeSmith got hurt 4 periods in, whatever it may have been.
Mm-hmm.
5 even. 5 periods in. Still not enough. Because now we're down to Louis Domingue and his magic for a couple of games. Now, don't get me wrong. Had we gotten out of that series somehow, some way with Louis Domingue, obviously you're going back to Tristan Jarry in round 2, but oh man, you can't be let down by your goaltending for another year, because that's exactly what happened this year. Tristan Jarry was injured all season. We don't know exactly with what, but he came out and said almost all year.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean, you remember there were the reports of, quote, physical issues in the second month of the season when the Penguins were on that first 7-game losing streak, and he just was never right until after that. We've heard chronic hip issue. We've heard from Mike Sullivan, hey, he's not injury related anymore. We're just trying to get him up to speed. And then at the end of the season, Jarry said, yeah, I'm still dealing with some stuff. So yeah, he was injured throughout the rest of the season. And I will guarantee you one thing. And listen, there are very little guarantees when it comes to this Pittsburgh Penguins offseason. Crosby, Malkin, Letang are safe. That's a guarantee. The Pittsburgh Penguins will not have the same duo of goaltenders starting next season as they have had for the past 3 seasons. I guarantee that, because it was baffling that Burke and Hextall ran it back after last year. So whoever the new front office is, general manager, president of hockey ops, whoever those new guys are, I guarantee you, whether it's Tristan Jarry going out and then bringing in a new starter, or if they're saying, you know what, we'll bring Tristan Jarry back, probably not give him as good of a contract as he had hoped going into the season, and we'll toss to Smith, find a 1B. Regardless, I think there is going to be some movement in the goaltending ranks. Yeah. There's going to be a new face there, and it's not going to be a Dustin Tokarski, right?
Nope.
So this is going to be the toughest call all summer. This is going to be the biggest storyline all summer after the Penguins hire a general manager. And the biggest thing, like you mentioned, what is available as far as upgrades? The John Gibson thing has been tossed around. I talked about that on Penguins to Go yesterday. I like Jeremy Swayman, but he's an RFA, and the Bruins are likely going to match any offer that is sent Swayman's way. Free agent-wise, there's a handful of guys. Do you trust a Freddie Anderson? Do you want to bring in an Aiden Hill? There's a handful of guys. Nobody that's really that standout number one guy. So maybe it's 2 signings there, a 1A and a 1B from the free agent market. I don't know. There's plenty of different directions the Penguins can go. But at the end of the day, I do believe Tristan Jarry is better than what he showed this season. He was injured all season long. Now, if everybody wants to say, hey, he's injury prone, that's why I don't want to bring him back, I don't have time for that. Shut up. He had 1 bad season where he was injured. We've seen multiple times where, hey, a guy missed a lot of time this season. doesn't mean he's injury prone, right? Last year, what was it? Brock Nelson busted into him and broke his foot. It's not injury prone. His foot broke. And there's people that want to say, oh, he has weak bones. Shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. This year, yeah, chronic hip injury, that's a concern. You're going to have to monitor that over the offseason, and you're going to have to be wary of that. But at the same time, Evgeny Malkin played 41 games last year. Everybody said, you know what? I don't know if he can play. He's never played 70 games in a long time. It's been a couple of years. Played 82 games, was over a point per game. Shut up with the injury stuff. Like, literally, enough of that. Is he a good enough goaltender to be a number one in this league? That is a better question. I don't know if he is, right? I don't know if he has the mental fortitude when the game gets bigger and the lights get brighter that he's going to be able to be the guy. I don't know if he has the swagger. I certainly don't think he has the swagger, but I don't know if he has the confidence in himself to be able to do that. That's my question, not all this health bull crap that people are mentioning. So I say maybe you sign him. He's not good enough to be a must sign. You have to weigh your options and see what's out there because there might be a better option out there, right? You have to weigh your options. He's not a go-to. You got to bring this guy back. He's not. He's just not that guy. But he's not a cut dry and move on because the options out there, if there were that many great options out there, I'd be right there with you, Horwat. I would. But at the same time, there's not any, hey, John Gibson is still that dude, right? He's not. He's not that dude. And here's the other thing about John Gibson. He's played 18 more games than Tristan Jarry over the past 4 seasons. One's considered a workhorse, one's considered injury prone. Get your mind out of what we just saw and look back a little bit further. That's my whole point with Tristan Jarry. I say maybe you sign him, you say move on. I think the one thing we can all agree on is he is not the only answer for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they need to look at other options.
Correct. He's not going to be the only option to be, taken hold of. He's not the only thing that needs to be fixed with this team. Jesus, looking at John Gibson's numbers are so scary because we know he's better than that. That's the thing with John Gibson, and I'm sure we're going to have this discussion 8,000 times this offseason.
At least.
Until another name floats around. The thing with John Gibson is that team is so bad in front of him. And, legitimately, the Anaheim Ducks gave up the most shots ever by an NHL team. Yeah. John Gibson saw a lot of rubber. He did what he could in 53 games played this past season. League lead in losses for 3 of the last 4 seasons. The team in front of him has not been good. I want to see what John Gibson can do on a good team. Why not give him the run here? Give him the chance. Because that seems to be an A+, not an A+. That seems to be an option right now.
It is. But my biggest thing, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You covered all the bases of on your diatribe of, I don't want to hear it either. We just need to move on because, like I said, new management coming in too. They're going to want to build their team. There are guarantees. There are not many guarantees when the new management comes in. There are a few that I can say for certain will happen when FSG signs their guy. They're going to be a fan of Mike Sullivan. That's going to be step number 1.
Yeah, they're going to have to be. That's probably the first question in all of the interviews that haven't happened yet is, hey, what do you think of Mike Sullivan? Okay, you're gone. Get out.
Exactly. They're going to want to keep Sidney Crosby around. They're going to want to keep Evgeny Malkin around. They're going to want to keep Chris Letang around. Those are the 4 guarantees. From there, maybe the questions turn into, okay, Jake Gensel signing now or next year. Okay, Jason Zucker is a big free agent. What are we doing here? What path do you want this team to go in? Eventually, you get to the goaltending question, and genuinely, that the new GM has to be, we're going to take a hard look at it. And by hard look, more often than not, that's going to mean we're going to put our goalie in there. We're not doing this. We've seen what happened. We know Tristan Jarry is an all-star caliber goalie. We've seen it. I don't care no offense. I don't care what you think about the injury thing. If he's hurt, that's not good.
Oh,
We've seen it from this team for long enough.
There's a reason people have to pass physicals to get contracts in sports.
Exactly. But why even bother with it?
Because the options are not all that great. Like even John Gibson, to me, John Gibson is Tristan Jarry, but he's performed in the playoffs before. That's what he is. I know that he had a worse defense in front of him. Get him a better defense, which the Pittsburgh Penguins weren't great at defense this year. Like they weren't fantastic in front of their goaltenders this year. His numbers are probably commensurate to the same thing that Tristan Jarry did over the past 4 seasons. Now, with that, you're also paying to acquire him, whatever it costs, which is not going to be cheap, and you're paying him $6.4 million for the next 4 seasons. That's my issue with John Gibson. Is it that much of an upgrade over a guy that you can probably get for cheaper and not have to give up assets for?